Yes, indeed, we do. We do indeed, Mr. Pocket. Jay, it's great to be back with you, buddy, after
yeah, I missed you, man.
But we got ourselves a great little match to kick off our final week of the qualifiers here for Major 2. We got London faced off against Florida. The return of Dave Patty. There he is, the bottom right of the screen. Never looked better, Jay.
Yeah, he's not really there, but he's there, you know. I'm excited for this matchup because Florida, the Death touched on it perfectly. They have struggled so bad in respawns, especially hardpoint. Yeah. 4-18 overall record, 2-10 in opening hardpoints. They had just been struggling, so they decided to make a roster change. I think Nameless touched on it perfectly in the Death. Like, when you're struggling that bad in one most specifically, and especially hardpoint, it has to most likely be more than just one change, especially with the change that they decided to come with. In my opinion, Brack to Dave Patty are probably going to be the same exact player, but we would just have to wait and see. Hopefully this guy's the hardpoint guru they were looking for to finally get some wins.
We'll see. And you know, you touched on it kind of coming into the series. You and I have a little bit of back and forth once we see the vetoes, and it was like, actually, like, HyDra actually could be a map that they do see a decent amount of success on. We're talking about rotations. You know, oftentimes we're talking about the ARs holding down lanes and the back sides of the spawn. Like, this could turn into a pretty good map for Florida, all things considered now.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing you got to take into accountability. Like, for Florida, overall in hardpoint, they were dead last in rotations, and then when they were trying to get towards the back of the end, they never got it. So they were the worst team in rotations, and also the 11th team in break in every single hardpoint map. So with a player like Dave Patty, he's probably going to be able to get you some spawns here and there.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do. As we said, a lot on his shoulders coming into this matchup for Florida, his first time and an official CDL match since Major 3. So it's been a bit of time. However, we'll see if he can try to give the boys a very much needed early game 1 victory. And so far for the Mutineers, it has been pretty sunny skies here on Zarqwa. A nice little 20-0 advantage. No bit really of contest coming in from the other side of Ravens.
Yeah, right there. If you're Florida, you're doing a great job. You start off on the better side for this P1. You're getting all this time, and you're maintaining those spawns over towards P2. No kills in favor of the Ravens. So now their task becomes a little bit more difficult, trying to push through ruins. You have one player in Nastie working his way through low water, but Dave Patty's going to have his hands full. What can he try to hold down from this angle?
See what he can do. Eventually does get found out. I want to say that was Nastie. I think my feed's a little blurry, Jay, but I think it was him.
A little bit.
A lot of focus on a few different players here for the Ravens. Nastie and Scrapz absolutely is touched on by the desk are two players that you got to look out for, but this hard point, it's incredibly important. The reason why is because the Ravens just got their very first few points on the board. Jay, there's no time like the present.
Yeah, no time like the present to get yourself right back into this game. 30 seconds remaining on P2 hardpoint. So now if you're Florida, you probably get this one more good push from the front end. You want to make sure you're maintaining these spawns going in towards P3. Early shots coming in from Asim, not able to pick up the kill. Major Maniac is the player watching the cross. Right now, Florida, they just want to trap him in towards the back. Now with players backing up, they're not going to allow any fluky things to happen. They're blocking those back gas station spawns, those back green spawns, and they should be fully set up for the next hill.
Yeah, it seems like Florida done really what you needed to do. Unfortunately, you have to allow for a decent amount of those points to go the opposite direction. But now they focus their attention now over at P3. As we said, Scrapz, really the man of the hour, had an incredible performance there versus the Las Vegas Legion. Yeah, I think it's fair to say a lot of fans hoping to see vintage Scrapz perform again today. He's off the 1.7 KD in the last series.
That was unreal, man. He was like double positive every single hard point, and in the control, he goes like positive 10. That's the Scrapz we were waiting for. He showed it in that series versus Vegas. Starting off with a little bit of an even start in this hard point, but the fly over the top, Paulak's not able to pick up the kill. And so far, this has been a great hold from Florida. They know that the spawn, they're controlling a majority of it, but that's going to be a clean 4 dead. For the final 25 seconds should go in favor of the Ravens. And now with Florida, that one's going to bite them because they're all spawning in towards the back.
Yeah, it's basically a double positive, really. If you're the Ravens, you've got the break, and now you've got them in the chokehold. You got two players backing up. Paulak's looking to dive through with the knife. He eventually falls. Then falls onto Nastie's shoulders. So with that, the Ravens laugh their way over toward the pathway. And while they don't have the lead in this game, they definitely have established themselves a pretty good position to find their way back on through. With Asim and Scrapz both sitting on that 3 spree. A good little opportunity here for them, but see if they can extend those sprees, as it could be Havoc who looks to go for a bit of a dive. Asim, he's ready for it. He's ready. He's been patient, and patience pays off. A few members from Florida, though, have snuck through toward the back. Player 5 in Vehicle. One man that's here.
Yeah, but now both teams are going to be able to spawn out, but London, they're winning a majority of these gunfights to maintain the back end. And this has been a great hold from Florida. From London, almost a full 60 to take this lead right on back. Earth the rotation now. It's going to force Florida to try to back on up. That's been some great hardpoint play from the Ravens, controlling the spawns to now take this lead. Now all of the Mutineers have to back on up, make sure they hold down their irons and make this job a little bit easier. But someone has to get over also towards the P3 side. You don't want to allow anyone to slip on through.
See if they can manage to do so. One player toward the bottom side, it's going to be Nastie. Major Maniac trying to hold things down. Right now at 8-5, a great performance to kick things off for him. As we said, bit of a lead change going the way of Ravens. That's one player cut down. Now the pressure begins to come on toward Havoc. He's found 2 so far throughout this early team
3 dead.
And there you go. The other one gets wiped away too. And with that, there is one player spawns in the back though. That's going to be Paul X. Could cause a bit of an issue. However, he gets dealt with. And Jay, the very first half of this hardpoint, it has been clean work so far for the Mutineers.
Yeah, Florida, they have the awareness. They know exactly where everyone's coming from. Even though Dave Patty is currently sitting at 5 and 10, double negative. It's the best start to a hardpoint this squad has had so far all season. Great shots from Dave to at least find the second. Final 20 seconds on this P5 hardpoint. And look at the play that's already at Dome. Unfortunately, Havoc loses that gunfight, and that's a massive one because now it allows London to get that free cross, try to flip the spawns, and continue to force Florida to spawn out towards the back of P3.
When it comes down to HyDra, both teams, when it comes down to the reset, the HP's looking for the bottom right side, and Major goes for a dip, tries to go for the little crossover. It's Vehicle who's eventually there for the takedown. Great work and coordination once again from Florida. And I don't know, Jay, maybe that was one of the questions that people were thinking when it came down to this roster change, right? You get rid of Brack. Maybe it's a coordination thing, right? We know the stats indicate that Brack is having a very successful season. Maybe it's something in game. Maybe it's something when it comes down to just rotational plays, smart plays around the map. At least early on in this hard point, Florida looks to be doing pretty well right now with Dave Patty.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I remember from the beginning of the season when we talked about this game, stats didn't really matter that much because if you play correctly, if you get the better side of the spawns, you're getting the easier kills. You're just making the game a lot easier, and that's what Florida have been able to do, controlling the better side of the map. But now with Dave Patty being the only player towards the back of P2, there's 3 players from London ready to pounce on him. He at least finds the first. He spots the second. It's a big gunfight. If he can win it, he cannot. So London are going to be able to win that rotation and get fully set up for P2 once again to try to get back into this one.
It was a decent effort there from Dave Patty. He's got 3 players surrounding him, and now with that, the Ravens, they cut him down. There was one player who did spawn toward the back. It was Nastie, who was a little bit late to join alongside of his teammates. So while he gets cut down, again, it is not a negative by any means for the Royal Ravens. They've got all 4 players here. And a big moment in this game, an opportunity for Florida to try and break. A chance for the Ravens to get themselves back in this game. They've been on the back foot so far. Throughout is our qual. Nastie tries to go for the snap. See, eventually does get found out. A seam once more is going to be there. Back and forth we go, Jay. It feels like both these teams locking things down when they have to. 30 points away from another lead change potential. With those final 20, it's going to go toward the Ravens. And now we head over toward P3 again. Paul X trying to make the plays as he gets found out. And now it's Florida once more with the spawns, buddy.
And now it's Nastie who pops that dead silence and gets the timing onto Vehicle. Not able to find out the shots and take him down. So now they know that pressure is coming out towards the fact. They're holding the back push. They also push out aggressively towards the middle of the map as well. So they're ready for every single gunfight when needed. As Florida are maintaining this lead for now. Split spawn still coming in. Now you have 2 players from the front, 2 players from the back. Where these 2 players from Florida are now going to spawn all the way at P2. So this is the time where you pounce if you are London. But they're not winning any gunfights. That's going to be 3 dead. The ARs from Florida, they hold strong.
But Nastie's still here. Nastie's still here. They get the close spawn, and there you have it. Another crucial break comes in from the Ravens. They've got all 4 players nearby, but at the same token, Florida's still here. How about the snap from Nastie? Able to sniff out Vehicle, but on the other side, it's Havoc who comes away with 3 of his own. Havoc out of nowhere erupts for a triple as Nastie eventually does get dealt with. Sweat off the brow for the Mutineers. Havoc has saved this HP, and Jay, our observers are already on top of it. Major Maniac could be the thorn in the side. When we talk about this next hard point, he's hanging out toward the back.
Yeah, he's going to be the game changer. He's going to be the guy who can close the game out right here for Florida. Just playing it patient, wait for his teammates to get a little bit closer before he decides to engage. Finds that first kill, takes him off of the point. Now you have to focus on Major and towards the back. Trades going back and forth. Havoc at least finds one. And now those spawns for London are all the way at P5. The break is going to be here for Florida, and they can still win off this hard point.
Havoc's here. Major still alive in the back. Patty gets erased, but Havoc wins his gunfight. Great fight to take. However, Major Maniac is now off the map. Current 2 versus 4. When you take a look at that close hardpoint screen, London They absolutely need to get this time. However, a team kill does come through. PaulX does get wiped away off the map. 15 seconds still to fight for, and Florida wisely elect to back on up, allow for these seconds to go the way of London, and prepare for new. A decent attempt toward the stretch, but London, they sniff out Major, and from there, they still continue to have a chance in this game.
Oh, and there's one player that did eventually spawn out, so now there's only one player here for Florida off the rotations. All falls into the hands of Vico. Already off the rotation, the Ravens are going to be in. What started off as a great rotation for Florida gets instantly broken by all the kills coming in favor of London. Now only being down by 30 points. You have to just hold down your irons. You already have a player in ace. I'm holding down the back. Gas station, he's playing such a rat spot. You're not going to be able to check it. Takes down Major Maniac. Now they know that the pressure's all coming in from the front. They're getting right back into this one. This is going to be a photo finish, Lando.
Looks to be that way. 218 to 203. London still with a ton of time to try and fight for. They've got man count advantage in this team. A great gunfight victory, able to shut down Dave Patty. They've got 3 players stacked inside of the HP.
They flipped as well.
Are going to be aware of the spawns for Florida. So a great opportunity potentially right now for the Royal Ravens as Florida elected to try to break through in toward the top. They have managed to keep themselves alive in this game and now hold a slim lead. Back to P1 we go. We've got a few players going swimming, Jay.
Oh, and that's going to be 3 dead. So now it's all falls into the hands of PaulX, the only player on Dome side. He's going to get stunned. At least finds the first kill. With all of his teammates trying to set up for a pinch, he has to try to make a play. Unfortunately, cannot find the second. So Florida, they're getting every single kill. They're controlling the spawns. But look at the spawn from Nastie. He's actually going to spawn behind them at P2 hardpoint. Gets a freebie onto Major. Now the pinch is going to be on P1.
It's just going to be there. Scrapz trying to find it. Oh, he gets cut down by Vico.
Havoc.
3. That's going to be 3 down. Nasty still trying to make a play in toward the back. London are still here. Nasty gets cut away. Only 8 more seconds. Player number 3. It seems the man who can make the play. Havoc. He's got to turn around. He's got to turn around. He eventually gets dropped the scene, keeping the game alive, but only for a moment. London, they've got the spawns toward next. They just need to stay alive.
Uh-oh, this is where it's going to start to get scary because London are going to be fully set up. They have trapped Florida towards the back of P3. Now you have to hit that rotation. Someone has to hit a water route. You're swimming right behind aBeZy. Do you have a pistol in your back pocket? I don't think you do, but at least the call out does come in. Ravens at 240, 10 seconds away from calling game.
Back and forth we go. London, they cut away 2. You just need 1 break. You just need 1 break. Havoc, he falls. Dave Patty, the only one alive, and he gets dropped as well. What a closeout to the opening hard point here on HyDra. Florida, all they needed was 1 break, and they could not find it. The Ravens, who were in the backseat of this game all map long, managed to clutch it out. We got to see that one again, Jay.
It all falls into the hands of right here where it's Simp because they needed 2 seconds. There was 12 seconds left on this P1, and he contested it and was able to pick up both kills. Now all of Florida are spawning out towards back green. Now you have to try to push on through, which makes it a lot more difficult. You know, this trophy system's out. They do get the first kill onto aBeZy, but he's going to spawn right in towards the back. Trophy system shutting down the push. Then you have PaulX playing a nice little angle towards the back end. They get kill after kill. There was only 1 player left in the vicinity for Florida, and it was Dave Patty. 1 geek gets taken down. The Ravens find the hold on towards P2. They just did exactly what they needed to. It was 2 seconds from Florida closing out on P1. aBeZy makes those plays. They flip the spawns and take control of P2. He stays alive at P1 long enough to force the next hard point, and then they get the hold. Great plays from the Royal Ravens, taking that map number 1 and not allowing Florida to get an opening hard point because we know how dominant they have been in search and destroy. What a hard point to start us off, Lando. Wow.
Yeah, and that really has to deflate things for sure. I mean, if you're the Mutineers, man, like, you know, you're coming in, trying to prove a point, right? You make this roster change. A lot of people very controversial about the move, saying, hey, you know, you probably shouldn't have removed Brack from the lineup. Florida, they try to come out and make a statement in the opening hard point, right? That has been their issue. They have the victory in their hands, and then they let it slip. Another opening hardpoint loss, Jay, and now 9 games in a row. That is a tough pill to swallow for Florida. It's got to be short-term memory coming into this S&D.
100%, because obviously you usually find yourself down 0-1 in the majority of these series because you can't win an opening hard point. You came really close in your very first one with Dave Patty. If a couple of those gunfights go a little different, they're potentially able to close it out on that P1. All they had to do was find a trade on ASIM, and that map number 1 is theirs, but they couldn't find it. But now they're going into a search and destroy on Fortress, more specifically, where this is a brand new roster, but they still have the 3-core squad in their search and destroy. They were able to dominate Fortress search and destroy both times that they have played it 6-1, 6-1. With the only thing that really scares me now, though, is with Brack not on the roster. He was the highest SNDKD for this team with a 1.3. Yeah. davePatty, he's a phenomenal search and destroy player, but the chemistry was there with this old school, with the old Florida roster. Now I'm looking at the other players to really step on up. Havoc, he's sitting at like a 1.2, but Major, Maniac, and Vico are the guys. We saw Vico last week drop like 16 kills in one search and destroy, so just make your job a little bit more easier for davePatty in his return.
Yeah, without a doubt, right? You want to see davePatty come through, jump into a great little S&D performance. He's going to be a little disappointed after the opening HP loss, but definitely, right, when it comes down to Fortress S&D, this has been a mode, as you called it, for Florida, a mapping mode that they have really enjoyed a lot so far. They only played it twice, but they have been phenomenal. I want to say in both of those games, I think they hold like a 12-1 round count when it comes down to this very mapping mode. So it's been one that's treated them pretty kindly so far. But one note that I was looking at, Jay, our stats team sent us something really interesting, and it was about Brack. Brack's performance on Fortress S&D. Granted, they've only played it twice, but he's got a 5.67 KD on Fortress S&D. So, we're talking about, success. It very well could be Brack, who's been the reason why they sit with a perfect record in this very mapping mode coming up.
Probably 5.6. That guy's basically Thanos on the map. A guy that you cannot shut down easily, but he's no longer here. So now what can this new Florida squad do up against a highly momentum-based in London squad who just took a grueler of a map number 1? Now going into a search and destroy where ever since this team has been formed, they have yet to win a search and destroy. So that's the thing that's really going to be able to put this team over the top. How fast can they gain chemistry to become great at this mode?
That's a great point, my friend. We fly in now for Fortress S&D round number 1. It's going to be Florida starting things off on the attacks. Early shots exchanged from Havoc as he'll look to dive away, send that info over to his teammates, and maybe hand it over to davePatty, who looked like for a moment may have been in a situation to walk away with the first. However, aSeam answers for 1, and Major on the instant trade. A quick advantage given toward the way of Florida. Back and forth we go, and now it's Scrapz who's last alive.
Scrapz now in a 1v2. There was a lot of pressure from Florida through P1 side, and then they also got aggressive in through A. So now Scrapz backs all the way on up. Still does not earn that dead silence. But now in the 2v1 versus Major, Maniac, and davePatty. Read this play a little bit wrong, so by the time he gets over towards A, it's only going to be about 30 seconds left. But you have to take down both players. You have to at least find at least one to gain some information on how they're playing the setup.
Scrapz be the hero. Major and Dave still to fight for, waiting for the overextension. Not going to be there. Scrapz right on the bomb. Tosses out the nade. It's a trophy that saves the life of Major Maniac today. Very well, it could have been a stick. Goes for the gunfight. Not going to take it. An early and aggressive round that eventually does slow down. Florida utilize those numbers, get the bomb down. And it was never going to be an easy day at the office here for Scrapz.
Yeah, Florida knew right there. In that very first attacking rounds, we don't have any trophies to work with. Let's not try to work towards that A-bomb quickly. Let's be aggressive through street side, even though they ended up getting first blooded. The trade was immediately there, and then they allowed Havoc to push right on through that A site and put the numbers in their advantage. Florida, with the aggression, take round number 1. Now can they answer on defense?
So far, man, they have been flawless on Fortress Search Destroy when it comes to defense. I think the only team that is yet to lose a defensive round on this very map and mode. We'll see if they can keep that streak intact or if the caster curse will come into effect, which happens a little more often than I'd like to admit, Jay. But we'll see if it happens or not. London ready and aggressive, eager to get in the fight. And, well, they start things off nicely, getting Havoc out of the play. First blood for London.
They're using their team nades right now beautifully. They know that Havoc likes to play aggressive towards double windows. You double team nade him, you're able to take him down, and you back the player off with watching across to now work a free A-bomb plan. You allow aSIM to strike, able to find the 2 through open arch. Now it's all left up to Major Maniac in the 1v4. He's going to get spotted. He's just trying to run around with dead silence, but eventually he's going to get picked apart, and that was a flawless round right there from the Ravens. We were talking about the chemistry in Search and Destroy, and right there, that was a flawless round. You time up both of those nades, you hit them on the stuns, outside of double window, you get the first blood. Then you get the player to back down from watching that cross towards A to work that bomb plant and allow your SMG to get aggressive up on the arches. Great game plan. Way to execute the round. 1-1.
I'd like to formally initiate an apology to the Florida Mutineers for calling out Jay that they had yet to lose a defense.
Cast a curse, man.
Fortress S&D. That
you did it. You did it.
In the opening round. That's on me. That's on me, Jay.
All good.
My bad. My bad, Florida. That's all good. You guys got it in round number 3, though. Like, this is definitely yours. Oh, God. I thought for a moment I did it again. Nastie misses the snipe, tosses out the util, but it's a quick plant for Florida. Instantly gonna make London have to come to them. It could be Paul X to strike early. Early gunfights going down between him and Vehicle. Tries to take the head off. He eventually drops. Mutineers in a great spot.
That's a big first kill by Vehicle. I thought Paul X, once he saw him auto mantle on towards the top, had the advantage of that gunfight, but decides not to challenge. Havoc finds the second. Major with the third, and last player up, 4 down. Very clean round right there coming in from Florida. You get that bomb down super quick. And then Vehicle wins that huge one-on-one to Paul X to put yourself in the trade battle. And eventually none of you guys drop. Great round right there for Florida, now up 2-1.
A little reply there for the Florida Mutineers, as we said. S&D, it's been their mode. You do have a few questions when it comes down to the roster decision. Bringing in a player like Dave Patty for Brack, is the Search Destroy prowess going to take a little bit of a hit? And as we said, Jay, you've got 3 unbelievably talented players still for Florida, and Dave Patty was no slouch in Search Destroy last season either. Still expect this team to be great in this mode, and so far they've shown that through 3 rounds. Up 2-1. Back to the offense we go for the Ravens, and to no surprise, it is an all-out focus toward that A site. All 8 players basically holding an angle, waiting for the other to expose a shoulder, maybe a leg, maybe a calf.
Yeah, London just know that when Florida final out success is purely off the aggression to shut down their playmakers. They're just waiting for Havoc, but they don't even have to take him down because Major Maniac with the team kill, unfortunately, is able to line it up onto Havoc. Scrapz finds a kill onto Vehicle. 4v2. You do have one player, Major Maniac, who does invest that dead silence. He's working up the flank.
Oh, Major. Uh-oh. Down for 2. Eventually drops, but gives that info over to Dave Patty. He'll pop the dead silence. Can we see some heroics from the new addition? It's been some time since he's been back in the CDL, since Major 3 last season. He's got the timing. On to 1. And oh my God,
as well.
Here comes the gun engagement. Oh, he turns around at the worst time possible. A near 1v2 for Dave Patty. Not going to happen today. Nastie drops him. But as we said, Jay, it comes down to seconds. Comes down to seconds right there.
Yeah, Nastie just found the timing. He also had that SMG in hand. Gives him that better advantage in those close gunfights. Just lines up the kill onto Dave Patty. Does not allow a Florida 2v4 to happen. As London gets some assistance right there from Major Maniac. Major Maniac, he had to make up for it, though, after that team kill by finding 2. Almost clutches up the round, but 2-2.
2-2 is where we sit. As we said, London off the early hardpoint victory. Trying to dig Florida a little bit deeper in this series. As we said, coming into this Control, really a map that you've got to look out for. Very well could be the deciding factor of this series. London would love to be up 2-0 coming into that one. Florida a little bit longer to get this plant down, but it's another plant over at A and another retake position here from London. We'll see how they elect to do it, as I think a few team shots might have come in there for a moment. Paul X, eager as ever, jumps in toward bottom green, gets some damage done. However, Dave Patty to fall as Dave Patty takes away 2, and now it is all on to Scrapz again in a position to clutch.
Scrapz out in the 1v2. Time is starting to tick. He knows that Vehicle's going to be sitting towards backsteps, but where is Dave Patty pinching from? Finds that first kill, and now it's all on Dave to just stay alive. Just going to fake hop the bomb. Pops up in that kill cam. But Dave Patty's in the best position possible to take him off of it, and Dave Patty makes the play happen. That was an ace right there for Mr. Patty. Gets the player on flank and then shuts down 2 players trying to attack from middle closed arch. What a round right there for Mr. Patty to take it right there for Florida. Now up 3-2.
And that's got to feel great, right? I mean, you can obviously see it based off of his camera, Jay. It looks absolutely thrilled. He just walked away.
He's smiling, man. Cheek to cheek.
A nice little smirk. Nice little smirk there from Mr. Paddington. Many nicknames that you can give to Mr. Dave Patty. Jay, what was yours that you said coming into this series? It was like, was it Krabby Patty? Was that what it was?
Oh, yeah, Krabby. Krabby Patty sometimes, you know, but he goes by a lot of different patties, you know, beef patty, turkey patty, yeah, whatever it is. Mr. Dave Patty is the best one. But back on the attack for London, as they get super aggressive up towards the street side. And for Florida, they take full control of A. So you already have one player who backs all the way up towards B, and Dave Patty finds the beams to at least find that first blood.
Krabby Patty, love to see that.
Oh, baby.
Getting off to a great start, finds the first blood, eventually drops. But here comes the Dolphin dive seam. Picture perfect work. Cuts the head off a vehicle, and now that lane over toward the B site gets that much easier. However, you've got Havoc still lingering toward the top rope, and London clear things out nicely. It's a seam toward top maps, wipes him away. And take a picture, folks. It's a plant over at the B site. Not often do we see it. And with that being the case, Major Maniac left in somewhat uncharted territory. A 1v3. Got to make his way across the map, and he gets dropped. A great plan from beginning to end here for the London Royal Ravens.
That was just a blind counter right there, Lando, because if you're Florida, you take control of A side. You're thinking, all right, most of the time, a squad is going to go towards A. So when you're aggressive towards A, these gunfights are going to happen pretty quickly. But London, they completely blind counter them, pushed up towards the street, and got aggressive through P1 side. Found that opening kill and then played it super patient. I would have hated if Paulex would have pushed through double doors and dropped Havoc, and then Havoc somehow got out with his life. But he was just stalling time, forcing Havoc to hold down that position and allowed Asim to eventually make the play. Now 3-3. Can Florida find some more success on the attack? And there it is. First blood for Major.
And no time on the horse there for a seam. Look to go for a ride. And, well, that ride's going to have to be discontinued for now. Royal Ravens trying to pick up for the fallen comrade. As into this next round we go. Florida back on the attack. And I doubt we see back-to-back B hits. However, anything is possible when it comes down to MW2. But back to A we go. This has been the strategy so far for Florida. As long or as short of a time as it takes, let's just get that bomb down on A and make the Ravens have to retake us. And now, Jay, they're going to have to do it with a man down.
Yeah, but the Ravens are going to switch up strategy. Instead of hitting that flank to retake, they're all being aggressive through the site. So to get some information that Florida are all just going to back on up, play this one safe. His time is starting to tick. It all starts with taking off this player from the back 18. Unfortunately, they line up for Havoc. Now it's all left up to Scrapz in the 1v4. At least finds one, but that is another successful post plant for Florida Mutineers, holding down that A plant every single time they have gotten it down. And it's leading to success. 4-3 now for Florida.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of like Florida being like, all right, well, until you break us on this strategy, we're just going to continue to do it over and over and over again. Like it's nothing out of the ordinary by any means. It just continually puts themselves in more of a mathematically favored position. You get the bomb down on A. I imagine that the retake percentage is not incredibly high.
Especially with the first blood as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Ravens are feeling the negativities of that. Last time around, it was London with the blind counter. And this time, well, Florida continued to play aggressive at A. Countering that it's not going to be a crazy strat in back-to-back rounds. But it is a wrist that is shown here for Scrapz. He's got a bit of info.
Yeah, Scrapz spotted Vico, so they're able to get the information and get the first blood. So now if you are Florida, you still have one player in Major Maniac playing a nice little corner over towards stage. His Dave Patty's just trying to watch over him through open arch. A couple shots are going to come in. Major Maniac at least takes down one, but now he is trapped. Dave Patty has to try to assist him and at least get him out of this position.
You can see the crossfire being established. Scrapz wants to try to get that angle on the Major. He eventually does so. Meanwhile, the nade ends up dropping Paulex. Now down to the 2 versus 2. 35 seconds to work with. Scrapz looks to pop that dead silence. All 4 players looking for that bit of information. Now it's Havoc's turn to rock Deddy. 28 seconds to go. The bomb looked like for a moment it could be heading over toward that outside alley. Meanwhile, Havoc is on the prowl. He knows exactly, it seems like, where this bomb is being rotated to. Can he find the timing? Jumps on through. Scrapz quickly hops off the bomb because he's just planted it. Havoc takes him down regardless. And now it's all on to Nastie. A bomb site to try and defend in 35 seconds to go.
SMG in hand. Gets the timing onto Havoc, but Havoc is going to be ready for it. At least finds that kill. Now it's a 1v1 versus DavePatty. He just hops it, Lando. He hops it.
He hops it. Nastie always playing for the dead. Silence Patty, the baddie. Oh, fuse. And gives Florida the 5-3 advantage. I'll tell you what, Jay, it takes something special to decide to do that in the middle of a 1v1. DavePatty, nerves of steel.
Yeah, something very, very special. This is what DavePatty has to have right there to just instantly stick the defuse once his teammate drops. But I think right there, if you're London, you want that round back, because once Nastie picks up the information of both players pushes toward the street, follow Scrapz, I'll just get that bomb down immediately. But he just wasted enough time, eventually gets picked off. Now Florida find themselves at game point. A whole lot of aggression from both teams outside of Art. As Tax is just going to be flying, Nastie finds the first run this time around, though, onto Major.
I mean, why not, right? You're down, trying to do something a little bit different, pulling out the sniper. Nastie now sits on 3. That pick makes things a bit easier. But with Florida, as we said, it's been the same strat all game long. Go for that A plant this time. Without that man advantage, could it allow for one player to slip on through? Asim tries to cause a bit of havoc toward the outside.
Didn't see him.
It does not spot the player toward bottom cannons. He does not spot him there. Regardless, DavePatty gets found out. Asim watches his own teammate fall. As we've been looking through the eyes of him, it's really been his teammates who have yet to see a ton of success. But with that, Havoc now left all by his lonesome, a 1v3, 20 seconds still to work with. We'll see what he can do when it comes down to timing. He's got to play. For the player going for the defuse. Can he catch the shoulder? Can he catch the shoulder?
Oh.
Not going to happen. Havoc, a 1v3. We'll have to wait to see another day. London keep themselves alive.
Yeah, right there. I thought Havoc, maybe if he puts down a couple shots, or at least pre-nades towards that bomb, he's able to take him off of it, but it's going to be Asim right there to cover his teammate in Scrapz while he's defusing. Keep London alive in this search and destroy a little bit longer. That round falls into the hands of the first blood onto Nastie, taking down Major. When you're retaking over towards A in the man advantage, it makes your job a lot more easier. So now if you're London, how do you respond? We saw the aggression towards B Street. We know how Florida have been attacking towards A with their aggression, but they're probably not going to do that one again. So if I'm London, I'm trying to get this bomb down as fast as I possibly can. Force a 4v4 retake.
I think for London, as you said, they maybe should be playing a little more aggressive over at A. I think they are banking on Florida continuing to be very aggressive over at that A side, as they have done numerous times on their defenses. Over to kick off this round, Florida gonna allow for London to grab really all the map control that they want when it comes down to this A site. Not trying to give away anything. Very much so playing for that middle of the map pick. And that bomb is gonna go down for free.
Bomb's gonna go down.
Maybe.
It's definitely gonna go down. So now it all falls into Paul X. His 3 players are gonna be pushing towards the flank. Major finds that first blood. Now it all falls into the hands of Nastie. DavePatty jumps his way in towards top bar, finds a second, but Nastie at least takes down 1, 3v2. And just like that, it's all done and dusted. Havoc finds the final 2 in Florida, showing why, regardless of roster change or not, this core 3 has been no team to mess with in search and destroy, as they are able to take map number 2. A couple pull-ups coming in and showing that they are hitting the gym.
Oh!
And unfortunately, Havoc does not like that. He said, nope, it's my turn, Vico. My pull-ups.
Listen, Vico. Got some age on you. It's my turn to hop inside of the gym. There's the defuse. And there is the W there for the Mutineers as they remain flawless on Fortress SD. I think Havoc may have lost a few hairs actually in pulling off that headset. You got to be careful, ladies and gentlemen. I guess that's what he gets, Jay, you know, for knifing his teammate. A little bit of karma being displayed on the broadcast. But no, Florida, they answer back. And I'll tell you what, man, it didn't really feel like it was anything out of the ordinary. I mean, they played Fortress about as standard as you like when it comes down to their attacks. And really in that final round, when they have to go for the retake, they're able to do it. But obviously the man of the hour, DavePatty, coming through with a great performance, finishing off 8 and 4. We said, how is he going to be able to really kind of stand in the gap of a player like Brack, who had the highest KD of this entire team in Search Destroy? And well, Dave, what's up the best KD in the lobby?
Yeah, 2.0 to start off your Search and Destroy. Good way to start, especially when you got the cojones to hit that defuse the way that he did. Great plays from them to now tie this series up at 1-1. And as we take a look at our maps and most presented by GMC Hummer EV, that hotel control, that one's going to be a fun one. because usually this is a brand new squad of Florida, so all their other stats are out the window.
Yeah.
But when I'm looking at this for London, this is the map that they have played twice. They lost to LA Thieves and they beat Vegas Legion, and a majority of that all falls into the hands of Scrapz. Didn't have the best map number 1, but he's the guy that can take over in this control. I'm excited to see when we get back from break, Lando.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. It's going to be a blast when it comes down to the rest of this series. Both teams tied up at 1-1, and I think you called it coming into this series. The Hotel Control was the map that you circled coming into it, saying that this one will define this series. But folks, we are going to throw it to a quick little commercial break. When we come back after this Hotel Control, make sure and stay with us.
with the Scump, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is presented by the GMC Hummer EV Pickup, the world's first all-electric super truck.
Howdy friends, and welcome back to the Major II Qualifiers. London Royal Ravens taking on the Florida Mutineers. Both of these teams trying their very best to dodge that loser's bracket when it comes down to the Boston Major coming up next weekend. Make sure if you haven't already, get those tickets. I'm hearing that things are getting more dicey. Man, make sure you get your seats, Jay. But tell you what, buddy, this has been a very interesting series up to this point. Currently a 1-to-1 game, and you said coming into this, the hotel control was the map to look out for. Why is that?
The reason why is because if you're Florida, you have lost your last 3 hotel controls. I know it's a brand new team, but it just hasn't been good overall from the other core 3 on the squad. They have yet to win any defensive rounds, and they also have yet to win any attacking rounds. They're ranked overall 8th on the attacking rounds and then dead last in defense. We know on a map like Hotel where the attacking rounds are a lot better than the defensive end, but to be dead last on your defensive side, that's going to be a struggle. And with London on the opposite side, this is a map that they have been able to play twice now with this roster. Like I said, they lost one to LA Thieves in a 3-1, but then they were able to beat the Vegas Legion in a 3-1. The majority of that just comes down to their slaying. If you can slay with the best, you will be able to dominate in the respawns. And I'm definitely looking at Scrapz, who had a slow map number 1, who dominated the last time he did play this map with almost double positive 10.
Yeah,
he was a guy who just took over in those crucial moments, so he has the ability to do so here as well.
And it's been a fun story, right, to watch Scrapz as we reset for this game number 3, buddy. Like, it's been so interesting to like watch his climb back to the CDL, right? We know that he played back in what was it, Cold War under the Legion side, and then when it came down to last season, you know, takes a bit of a break. A lot of people were kind of confused, right? How is he going to play? Now being added back to the London Royal Ravens, now getting the starting opportunity. There's been controversy, there's been craziness, but so far, man, it feels like that series versus Legion, you can see the numbers, the way that things differed. He took over in that game, and it feels like it started to give the Ravens fans some life, seeing Scrapz put up numbers like that.
Oh yeah, that's what you want. When you get a player that was an all-time favorite in the European region, when he comes over to our NA side, he's always been able to make an impact as a player. Started off slow when he first entered the roster, but in that series versus Vegas, he was the player that we have known of old with that takeover ability. 1.9 in hardpoint, 1 point in search and destroy, 1.5 in control. Look at the face on Mr. Matty Marshall. He's just ready. He's ready to go, Lando.
Looks like he's ready to just gun anybody on the side of Florida. I don't know if I'd want to see that in the lobby, Jay. I think I'd be scared if I saw that at the venue. I think I'd awkwardly just walk past him and not say a word.
You think he's got that Huke look?
Oh, he
that
could.
Huke LAG Major II look? That's what it's looking like.
It's possible, man. Tell you what, that is a scary sight. Nastie, meanwhile, I know we've talked about his look. Sometimes looks a little bit sad. Today, actually looks pretty happy. I mean, he doesn't look like ticked off or anything. He's like pretty good mood.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Look at young Nastie.
Yeah, he looks like he's in a good mood. I tell you what, man, it's London Royal Ravens team. As we said, the vibes have got to be pretty high. After the last victory that they had, as we said, for the London Royal Ravens, desperately trying to walk away with this W so that they sit in a better spot when it comes down to Major II. Make sure if you have not done so already, get your tickets for the Boston Major Tournament. Cannot wait to see you all there. Tell you what, the venue looks absolutely fantastic. Make sure to whip out that phone, pull up the QR code, and get those tickets, ladies and gentlemen. Jay, I can't wait. My first time in Boston, buddy.
I know. It's not my first time in Boston. I've been there at least once or twice before. Not good things. I went there for like a Knicks and a Boston game. The Knicks ended up losing by 40. Okay. But we're not talking about that. Right. This time we're going to Boston finally for some Call of Duty. I'm super excited to get to that venue. It looks sick. The graphics look sick. I know Boston are going to do a great job at that event. Just can't wait to be there, man. One more week of online qualifiers.
It's going to be great, man. It's going to be great. I'm excited to see at some point, you know, maybe if we could have it at the Boston tournament, it'd be perfect. But to see that Boston versus New York rivalry and the CDL, see the way that it would go down. Because as we know, when it comes down to regular sports, I'm sure you're familiar with it. Obviously, being from New York, those Boston fans, they can get quite, get pretty loud. We saw it in New York, how they were able to do it last season. I'm curious if Boston can hold a little bit to what we saw New York do last season.
Yeah. Hopefully they do. But hopefully it goes New York's way, because I'm always anti-Boston, especially when we talk about like all the sports rivals. It's always New York versus Boston. Majority of the time, New York are the better team, especially in baseball. But overall, Boston's going to be a fun event. If we have that matchup with New York versus Boston, that one's going to be a banger, especially with the way that Boston have been playing as of recent.
That'd be killer. I cannot wait to see how that turns out. I'll tell you what, I'm kind of like back and forth, honestly. Like when it comes to New York, Boston, I like my boy Jason Tatum, and he's been balling out this season. You know, it is what it is. St. Louis native, regardless, buddy. When it comes down to this game, we got to refocus. You know, we're excited about Boston. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be an awesome time. Obviously, if you got your tickets, you can see both of these teams here. But as we said, man, I mean, both of these rosters, they're trying to stay out of the elimination side. They do not want to have one life when it comes down to that Boston major. London, as we said, coming into this right now, sit at 1-3. They lose this series. There is no question about it. They are going to be with a 1-4 record in the loser side. A victory here gives them a better chance. On the opposite side for Florida, you got 2 matches this week. I mean, an opportunity to try to turn things around with Dave Patty. Everything starts here, and it starts specifically in this control.
Yeah, it definitely starts specifically in these controls. You see the stats right there from Havoc overall in this series. 1.5. Young Cole Havoc, Mr. Greasy is making it happen. But now into this hotel control. I just need to see more structure out of Florida. Like I said, dead last in defensive win percentage with their old squad. They've also yet to win an attacking round as well, but they're going to start off on defense, putting a lot of pressure over towards B as London. They're just going to send 3 players towards that side of the map and slow play towards A. Exactly how you want to start this off with early pressure over towards B point.
See how Florida looks to try to deal with it, as we said, to kick off the year. It was like, okay, pretty much hotel, defensive sided for the most part. Not the way anymore. As Dave Patty and Havoc quickly shut down that early B side attempt. A few of those spawns still coming in toward the bottom left side of your screen. We call that bedroom for good reasons. Why? Because it is a bedroom, believe it or not. But vehicle going to cause a bit of problems toward the top side, able to eviscerate 1. Still quite a few London players around the premises as they've still got those close spawns. And really with the position that Major's holding, he's allowing for his SMGs to go out hunting, go out fighting. It seems at least able to take away 1, and there could be the opening there for the Ravens.
Yeah, now this is going to allow London to get over towards that B point. But do they read the last 2 players that they have yet to take down? As Major lines up the kill onto PaulX through the flank with that Semtex. But can Havoc shut down this pressure on towards B? The only player right now from Florida who can attack. Unfortunately loses that gunfight to Nastie. He allows the rest of his squad to now set up that pinch. Major works his way all the way in through bottom lights, and there's only 15 seconds, and London have nothing to show for it so far.
Not yet. Major still yet to die so far throughout this round. Can he remain flawless? Now at 4-0. All sunny skies over at that A zone. It is all about B. London with a few picks. Major still here. Eventually does get found out, and the clock will be paused. Really just 1 segment is at least what you're looking for here for the Ravens. A dive onto the point for Receive. Could be PaulX, who looks to save the day. Guarantees the segment, but boy, do you need more than that. As Paul is left between a rock and a hard place. Nastie drops as well, and it is all out slang for the Mutineers to close out round number 1. Granted, they do give away 1 single segment, but I'll tell you what, Jay, they were absolutely slaying them out when it came down to the engagements.
That was their first defensive round. That was just a perfect game plan, perfect setup right there from Florida to get Major Maniac all the way pushed up towards outside kitchen. Once he puts him up in that position, then you force all of the Ravens to spawn out towards back plat, and you're forcing them to just consistently try to push on through B as they were ready for the push every single time. That's the first defensive round. We're right there for the Florida Mutineers on hotel control, as now they go on the attack. Can they have as easy of a job as they just had on that defensive end?
See if that's the case. Really, all that's going to fall on the shoulders of aBeZy. 2 line up, but he's not able to find either. Quick bit of damage, but that's all he's going to be awarded with. And that is in some ways, Jeff, like the positive if you are the team who starts off on defense, right? Round number 2, you're on the attack. You get to see how the other team does things. And they're aware, right? Hey, London Royal Ravens, they only get 1 tick. Let's just make sure that we hold the advantage regardless. Let's go for A, get those guaranteed segments. And right now, they have basically been uncontested so far at A. An extra minute added on to the clock, and not many lives lost. In fact, they've yet to die.
Yeah, this is just very, very simple game plan right now for Florida. You already have a player that's pushed out towards back spot and Havoc. So now those last couple of players are going to spawn over towards Jules, but 2 players remaining from Florida. They drop towards the middle of the map. Now they're spawning all the way at kitchen. Now, if you are London, you have to stun out, check your corners, find the trades on the last 2 players that you have yet to locate. As they find 1. But now it's all on to Havoc. What can he do?
And for London, it's like, okay, listen, I haven't seen Havoc all round. Where is this guy at? Hiding in the backside of your base. Continuing to be as thorn in your side, hitting shots from range, tags up Basim as he walks away with his tail between his legs. The early bit of progress now made on that B zone as Havoc has bought his teammates a little bit of a better opportunity to make their way in through bedroom. However, he falls, and thankfully London are able to pick up the pieces from there. But an early and successful start at that A zone, still plenty of time to work with. And Major Maniac, I tell you what, buddy, I think that's like his 15th dolphin dive so far of the game.
Yeah, he's just sneaking on through, man. Jumped his way out of top bedroom. Now he sits towards bottom lights with multiple players from the Ravens surrounding him. As they are just maintaining bedroom control. They're forcing all of Florida to hit that overextension. You have Nastie, who's watching the push through spa. He does get a couple sound cues, knowing that the player is going to be there, but loses the gunfight. So now the pinch is going to be on. Can Major Maniac at least relieve some of the pressure by taking one player down towards his bedroom position?
See if he's able to do it. The rest of the members of Florida who have made their way through the back eventually start to hop on in. Havoc, he loses his fight. Eagles at least able to go for the trade. Cannot find the second. Paul X escapes to the couches. He'll lay his head for now. And now with the time starting to become a factor, somebody's got to make a move. Vico eventually does drop him. Big plays coming in from the Røkkr. And now tagged up. Nastie knows his position, but it's great coordination once more. There for Florida, it feels like everybody is watching out for one another. One more player left to find. And right now, that's going to be Scrapz hanging out toward top bed. Scrapz buys a bit of time, and there you go. A quick 3-for-1 trade as Dave able to take down 2 before he falls. 10 seconds left. Florida, they've got to run.
Yeah, and if you're Florida, you have to just cut. Don't challenge any gunfights and just try to get onto that point to at least stop the clock. But the Ravens with a beautiful defensive setup with 3 players consistently pushed out towards bedroom. Make sure they kept the trades efficient. Scrapz finds one when he was the only player on that side. He allows his teammates to eventually come off spawn and get back into the attack. They find 3 kills, and then the last play up was Dave Patty towards top bed. Even though he does take down 2, just not that many bodies from Florida towards bedroom as they spawn all the way out towards kitchen, and London holds strong on the defensive end. 1-1. But keep in mind, those ticks are still in favor of Florida, up by 2.
Yeah, if you're the Mutineers, you're like, you know what? Granted, did we not get a whole lot of things done at the B zone? Yes, but at least we're up coming into this next round. You did see, though, that quick little break. Seem marking out quite a few orders. It would seem pretty standard for the Ravens just to make the safe play, go over toward that A zone, but they're going hot heavy over toward B again. A big investment. We'll see if it does pay off for them. Try to administer a bit of aggression. One player that's going to be out of the fight is Major Maniac, so you're permanently going to have numbers if you're Ravens. All that comes down to is just if you can win your fights, if you can trade effectively. It's here they come. The dolphin dives are out, Jay.
Yeah, we just have to take down Dave Patty. That's the only reason why they have yet to be able to push out towards bedroom, because of the positioning of Mr. Dave. But once you take him down, now it's your time to pounce on towards B. First tick is about to come in as the 3-stack is already going to be here, but look at the player that's going on the flank. It's going to be Havoc. Works his way all the way towards top plat. Now finds himself towards the top. He eventually does get sniffed out, though. And the second tick is already going to be here. London have done great job to close out this B point, extend time by a minute. Now the sole focus is just taking control of kitchen. That's the way you're going to be able to get a wrap back, trade these kills out towards kitchen, and have one player eventually work towards the pinch, which is going to be Scrapz.
Team once more trying to lead the way. He's got that dead silence. Rock, Dave Patty able to drop him. Trade still, though, that favor the Ravens, at least for the moment. A quick 2v2, now a 1v1 inside of the point. But again, it's that A zone. We know that it does favor the offensive side. They're going to have more bodies onto this point faster as Scrapz now at 8 and 7 on a 4 spree, beginning to heat things up. Finds himself in a big cutoff position. And really on the opposite side, Major Maniac's trying to do the exact same thing, but in reverse. Major gets sniffed on out, and here come the Ravens. All 4 members still alive and firing.
Yeah, this is where you get the stack going if you are London. You read the play that's going on towards the flank. Vico at least finds one through mid-connector. You cannot allow these one-on-one gunfights to happen. You already put yourself in the advantage, but now you allow Florida to get back into the play, but it doesn't even matter. Paul X finds 2. Nastie with the 3rd. The stack is going to be in, and this is going to be London's round.
It's going to be London's round. Havoc not able to jump in time. And I don't know about you, Jay. It's always difficult, right? Because we don't have access. We don't know exactly what the team comms were like in that moment, but it just felt like Asim was barking out orders coming into that last round. Just it felt like he was the one who was coordinating. Hey, you know what? Let's not try to play standard. Let's not just try to go over toward A. Let's be aggressive, play to our strengths, hit out B. They do that. They see the success from there. And it just felt like maybe the Royal Ravens, the other three, just needed a kick in the behind just to say, you know what? I don't care if we, just lost that last round or didn't play as well as we wanted. Let's get back. Let's do our thing. And they do that, and now they find themselves up 2-1, 1 round away from calling game here in the swing mode.
We saw the way that they were able to set up on that defensive hold towards B. That's why I see a lot of aggression already from Florida, trying to get this one out of the way. As Vehicle pushes up towards double deaths, he's able to find 2. The stack is already going to be in. One player is going to be Asum on the flank. 2 HP left. He's able to stay alive, and now it's going to cause some problems on the Florida players that are currently towards that point.
Nastie, he's still here, man. He's still here. Florida, eventually does get found out. I thought, no, he's still alive. How in the world is Nastie still alive? 6 HP, and now it's going to force the Florida Mutineers to quickly rotate over toward that A zone. Nastie with an opportunity to make a play happen. Nastie, who is still staying alive despite being on slivers of HP.
Oh, he's moving.
Once again, causing issues. Now on 5 in a row. 1 away from the streak. Well, the Mutineers have found those 2 early segments. As long as Nastie is alive, it's going to be difficult to find any much more than that. But Jay, the pace is absolutely turning up right now from London.
Yeah, London, they're not slowing down their aggression as their SMGs are starting to get locked in. 25 seconds. Florida have to make a decision on what point they want to attack. You still have one player in Asum who's cutting off towards A. Everyone else is trying to wrap back towards kitchen because you have to get that one done and dusted. You have to extend time by a minute. Vehicle finds that first kill onto Scrap. Now it's all going to fall into the hands of Asum. What can he do?
Asum snaking his heart out. How long can he stay alive inside of the restaurant? Where'd the second player? Can he find 3? That's going to be the question. Waiting for a few teammates off spawn. He eventually does get found out, but 2 and some change still left alive as Florida desperately hold on to this objective with all that they've got. Paul is able to poke away for 1. The rest of the Ravens players begin to diverge into the point. Meanwhile, Nastie now on the flank. Are they going to be aware of where he sits? 2 players strong. Major gets found out. Vehicle still up. Vehicle still alive. The SMG duo for Florida have just clutched out that point. And now with a minute on the clock, have 1 segment still to go, as that is all that separates us between a game ending and a round 5.
Now, if you are London, you just have to stay aggressive in towards bedroom. Play your corners, play for your kills, keep the trades efficient. Because Florida, they're going to put pressure on through middle couches. They're slowly trying to put pressure on through bedroom. It all starts with this first gunfight. Whoever's able to win it, they pen a Major, they're able to find 2. Now, if you are London, you're panicking because the stack is going to be in.
Stack is here, and instantly, Florida, yeah, they've got everybody here. How about the plays out of the Mutineers, Jay? They basically turned control into search and destroy. London, they had the position locked down, but Florida, cool, calm, and coordinated. Everybody jumps into the point. I don't even know if they lost a single player when it came down to that ending engagement. Great work from the Mutineers to clutch out that attack and now send us to a round 5. Goodness
I know,
sake.
They only had 2 seconds left before they completed A. Like, London, they were putting on a lot of pressure. They were up in lives. They said if we get them off this point, the game is going to be done right here. But then when Florida were able to clutch that one up, London only had 2 players towards bedroom. The first 2 kills go to Florida. And then at that point, once you eliminate a player from Spa, you eliminate a player from middle, everyone is going to be ironed up, pre-aiming towards the final 2 cuts. As they're able to force a round number 5. London on the attack. So far, they've had success at B. That's the way they want to start off this round. And first Holy Blood going to Asum, but already Dolphin diving out of top bedroom. It's all going to be on Dave Patty with the pressure on him.
Scrapz just screams as he flies in toward the couches. And Dave trying to get acclimated. Comfortable. Great work. Cuts down Matty Marshall. And with that, it's a bit of a stagnant push here for the Ravens. They've also lost their 1 player who was hanging out over at A and Asum. And they continue to get dropped. So Ravens have got to be careful. Make sure they don't get out of the conversation for map control too early. And Vehicle to begin to stack a few up. He's at least able to take down 1. So little by little, the Ravens trying to take back this map control. They've got bodies on really both sides of the map now.
Yeah, they know that Dave Patty's still in this position towards top desk. You have a couple players from Florida watching that mid cross. Dave Patty, it's your time to strike. At least able to take down 1. Now the pitch is going to be last one. Dave Patty needs no assistance. He finds himself on a 5 spree, and time is starting to tick. At least if you're London, though, you get those close spawns over towards kitchen, you're able to stop that clock. And now the first segment is all going to really be done at A. You just want to try to slay right now if you are London. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Nastie finds that first kill. Now he's super aggressive, trying to block those spot spawns.
Oh, Paul! A 2-for-1 special inside of the kitchen. Great work coming in from him. And with that, he'll actually be the one to lock down the remaining time at A. He sends the rest of his teammates forward. And while 2 out of the 3 of them fall, the last one that remains is going to be Nastie. You saw for the Ravens, they wanted to get aggressive. And it does not work out for them there. So the first push does eventually get forwarded. But still, 1:20 on the clock. Lives technically down by 3 if you are London. But as we know, when it comes down to this B zone, without question, opportunities to be able to chip away at this defensive setup, but all of it starts typically with that bedroom control, Jay.
Yeah, that's how you see the way that London are trying to play this. They're just trying to open up with that first kill so Nastie can strike on the pinch. As this one player in Daypatty who was playing for him. But there's still a lot of Florida players pushed out towards bedroom. You also have mid-map control. Nastie at least gets the spot onto Daypatty. Unfortunately, can't line up the shots and miss the Patty. Turns and burns onto Nastie while he's hitting a couple jump shots. But at least aSim's here to fill his gap. Now you have to know that all the rest of the players from Florida are already pushed out towards bedroom. These kills are going to be big.
Most players tend to be hesitant in a moment like that. And Sim says, yep, okay, don't see anybody. I'm jumping right on this objective. Hopping right on it. 3 fall. Ravens. Panic begins to set in. Could it be Paul X to be the savior? To be the superhero here in this game 3? He eventually gets dropped as well. Far spawns here for London. Jay, they've got a lot of work to do and a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, they have to get there, and they have to get there pretty damn quick. You do have one player who's working the flank in Scrapz. Do they read this player on the pinch? You want to be able to time these kills. If you are Scrappy, at least finds the first. Now the trade at least comes in from Vico, but pressure's going to be on it. They're able to stop that clock.
We're able to stop it. That's the most important part of this game right now. Stop the time. Get one body at least on this objective. Havoc here to cause a bit of problems. Able to wipe away one. The other player from top bedroom, and Vico is able to silence another, and Florida are able to come out on top. We're down 2-1. Made a heroic effort there in round number 4 just to get us to this point, and they just narrowly are able to sneak it away in a round 5. All 3 of these games, at least these respawns, have been incredibly tight, incredibly close, but this time it's Florida who comes out on top and now finds themselves up 2-1 in this series.
Oh, man, and before Florida even got into this map, they had a 0% win rate on the defensive end with their old squad. But already the addition of Daypatty holding down double deaths, picking up clutch kill after clutch kill. They're able to take 2 defensive rounds on the hotel control and eventually close it out 3-2. That was just great work from them, especially Vico at the very end. Once that kill happens from Scrapz towards the back side of Spa, he finds that first kill. Vico's there immediately for the trade. And then Vico also finds another 2 players from top bedroom and is able to relieve that pressure from the Ravens on towards B. SMGs just made plays. They played a little bit ratty in the position that they needed to. And Florida were able to clutch up on the control. Now the only thing is, can they win a hard point and potentially close this one out? Even if they don't, they still put themselves in a great advantage to at least force that game 5 search and destroy. But this has been one of the best search and destroy teams that we've had all season.
Yeah, it just makes you wonder, man. Like, it really does. Like, if you're the Florida Mutineers, imagine if just a few more of those hard points go their way. Where would they be sitting right now in the standings? You know, at times throughout Major 1, they saw quite a bit of success in control. As you called it, right? We know how talented this team is in search and destroy. But we will never be able to call Florida a contender or a top team in the game until they can start to win a few of these HPs. I mean, yeah, it's a great moment, but I think you and I still have our question marks, even after a solid performance, a major clutching moment like that. It's awesome for the Mutineers, but until they show us that in HP, I mean, it still feels like this series absolutely has the potential to see 5 games.
Oh, without question. Because if you are Florida, like you said, they have been struggling in hardpoint, at least with their old roster. And that map number 1,
that's true.
They were 2 points away from closing out that hard point. They just couldn't find a trade onto aSim, and then did not have a majority of the better spawns into the later half of that game. But now going into the hotel hardpoint, this is a big one because the new London squad has yet to play this with this new 4. And the same thing with this squad for Florida. Obviously, this being their first match, they have yet to play this one. So if I am London, the way you want to do is you simply out-rotate. You're going to set yourself up for some success. And the majority of that is going to fall into the slang. The way that we saw Nastie was able to put on a performance at 27 and 22 in map number 1. When you control the spawns, you make the game a lot easier for yourself. And then on the opposite side for Florida, all momentum is heavily in your side. You take the last 2 maps. You want to come in hot with your new player in Dave Patty. He's been making clutch plays in the search to destroy, a couple clutch plays in that control. Can he have some clutch plays in his hard point to potentially close this out 3-1 for Florida and keep their winners bracket dreams alive at Major II?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, as we said for the Mutineers, right, they have 2 matches this week. Still an opportunity to have a positive record. I mean, you know, to say what we've said about their hard point, the way that they've struggled in that mode, the fact that they absolutely still have the chance to be able to go 3-2 says a lot without question in terms of what they've been able to do with Search Destroy, what they've been able to do in control as well. Big opportunity here for the Mutineers, as we'll see. They've got cooked up here for us next. But one thing too, Chad, I mean, just give me kind of like an overall, I don't know, I guess just an example so far of what you've seen from Dave Patty, your analysis of how you feel like he's been able to fill the role so far of Brack, and maybe what you expect him to do in this next game for Hotel.
Oh, well, Dave Patty, at least based off of map number 1, he just found himself not really as the slower AR as Major Maniac, who was hitting those routes, putting himself in better position to at least rotate nice and early. So Dave Patty's been a little bit more aggressive, at least in the hard points. Basically what Brack was trying to do for the squad, just trying to find the trades, get on the same page as your SMGs. And then in the search and destroy, it's just going to click right on in. When Florida, one of the best search and destroy teams in the game, I know you lose your best guy statistically with a 1.3 in Brack, but it's easy to put Dave Patty into the system because he's a great player in search and destroy as well. We saw it all throughout last season, and as he dropped a 2.0 in that search and destroy. And then even in the control, they have yet to win any defensive rounds because they couldn't hold down their key positions and win their gunfights. We saw Dave Patty at double desk a majority of the defensive rounds, just staying alive, playing his life, sitting down behind God Heglich, and just forcing the opponents to try to overextend and make it a little bit more difficult for them to try to take him down. So Dave Patty makes the place in the control. I would just like to see him a little bit more slay heavy into this hard point, because on a map like Hotel, you're favored on the majority of these hills. We know how impactful that P3 and that P4 can be if you were reading the spawns correctly.
Well, Mr. Parrington has had a solid series so far. The opening hard point, maybe not amazing, but we'll see if he can have an all-star performance, give Florida the W here in this game number 4. All they need is one more map to close out this series. London Royal Ravens fighting for at least a map number 5. The battle for Hotel oftentimes is going to be in really the middle right side of your screen. Both teams trying to fight for those spawns when it comes down to P2. Mutineers starting things off with that spawn in there, really still in their favor, and right now they've got it nonetheless. Battles continue to brew over at P1, and maybe an unfortunate day for Vehicle. He eventually falls. The Major Maniac comes away with the clutch too. Looked like for a moment, Jay, Ravens may have done just enough to get lobby toward themselves. The Major says no.
But still the pinch here. Still a couple players from the Ravens pushing from Spa, pushing from Chandelier's side. As the first kill comes in from Nastie. Now all of Florida are going to spawn out towards Shandy's. They're winning a majority of these gunfights, but Nastie, he finds the breakthrough spot, able to find 3 kills, maintain the spawns towards the back for London. And this is like shooting yourself right here in the foot if you are Florida. You win a couple of those gunfights, but you do not have the back spawns, and so far, no time to show for it.
Yeah, I mean, that is, like you said, incredibly annoying if you're the Mutineers, right? You basically say, okay, you know what? We can't get P1. We still can't get P1. Let's at least focus for next. The spawns are in our favor, and then, well, for the Ravens, they've done picture-perfect work on the opposite side. They break exactly when they need to, only handing over 5 seconds the opposite direction. And Scrapz feels like a man on a mission right now. A tank indeed, taking players down on either side of the map, whether close range or even in those faraway fights. It feels like you gotta favor them right now on a 4 spree as we head in toward Kitchen. London, they've got the numbers here.
Yeah, London, they win the rotation, but do they know the positioning of Vehicle? He's slowly trying to work his way in towards back kitchen. He's going to be the only player here. So he gives up his positioning. He doesn't even wait for his teammates to get into the play. And that is a rookie mistake right there. When you're the only player on the back end, you want to wait for your teammates to get close enough to at least set up a pinch and potentially spawn them all the way across the map. But now it allows London to at least hold strong for a little bit longer. A couple gunfights do go in favor of Florida through the middle. So now pressure's going to be from every single angle.
Oh, and Scrapz continues to heat on up. Now it's 6 in a row, and it's perfect work from the Ravens elsewhere, locking down the angles and silencing the Mutineers as they have played pretty much perfect HP throughout our first 3, reaching that century mark. And now for the Mutineers, Jay, another frustrating moment, right? Another frustrating moment where it's like, hey, we lost another rotation. We allowed for another crucial lockdown. And now we've got to try to set up shop over at the bar. We'll see how they elect to do it here, as the team looks to lead the way from the Ravens, cause some chaos up front.
Oh, this team just sneaks his way on through, but at least they read the player who's spawning out towards bedroom. So it would look like a great rotation from Florida. Gets instantly broken from the Ravens, not allowing any time to go in favor of the Mutineers, keeping their lead up by 100. Right there, the glass is just way too strong for the trophy system. So bounce back and hit Scrapz right in the face. But still, trades going back and forth. Major is at least able to find 2. Havoc cannot win the gunfight onto Nastie, as Nastie trying to go for the 4. Give him all 4. London find the break.
Iron Plumridge, good God. Excellent work there for Nastie as he breaks that hard point. The Ravens tell him to go, and he absolutely does. Green light and then some there for Nastie, as Florida just trying to pick up the pieces, trying to pick up this game plan off the ground as it is into bits. Finally, are going to reach over 30 seconds. Meanwhile, taking a look and realizing they are down by 100 and then some. Now toward the restaurant we go. I mean, I guess, Jay, to kind of play devil's advocate, I mean, we talk about it so often in MW2, you just got to chain a few hard points in a row and you're going to be in a good spot. But the Royal Ravens have just looked so good up to this point. It feels like every time Florida goes for an engagement, they're 1 man, 2 men down. Pico, an opportunity for 2 as he gets dropped. And Florida, well, they jump in.
Florida jump in, but London is still have a nice, comfortable lead. Let's step aside. Let's go into a listening with the Ravens.
Take your time. Yo, we're up by a lot. You don't count that. Nice, good job. Nice one close. Top bedroom. Top dead. Nice, I'm flying in.
Good spawn mid, we're blocking it.
Last guy time, Mike.
Nobody bought mid, I'm blocking it.
Last guy time, Mike. No, he's in the close couches. Beat on now. Beat on looking at that.
They spawned out. Yes, I know.
2 spawned out. Keep snaking, brother. Keep snaking.
Stack.
I'm blocking middle. They're gonna spawn out. We get kills. They're spawning out front. One's old.
Where am I getting shot from? Bottom middle, please.
Nice.
I'm holding that. Holy kitchen.
I'm holding you in the back. I have your deck.
The kitchen side door.
I heard you. I have deck.
You got below me. Kitchen on me.
I have below you.
Kitchen, white weak.
Try to stay alive. I
can't get kitchen on me.
I need a side door. You're good.
Both at back door.
I'm
one back door,
playing the back.
High pull.
Wait.
Front. Nice, good job. Have you front. Turn around.
One in the back dead.
Nice, one more.
Bottom bed. Dead. Nice. Deck. Last kid. Side door now.
They're spawning out.
Side door. Yeah, they're spawning out under you.
One bomb bed.
Hold that off angle. I spawned out.
Oh, I love to hear a listed like that for the Royal Ravens. Every time somebody dies, they're calling out dead. They're getting hype. Hearing what you need to out of the Ravens, but let's throw it to the other side of the stage. Down in a big way. Let's go to Liston now with the Mutineers.
There's spawning P4.
What's you? One's couch from couches.
Yeah. Heard you.
Hey, my left 2 couches. Get
One
back
could be dub as well.
Dead.
Couches dead.
Yeah, I'm
Last guy could be on the right.
Yeah,
I'm trying to look over you,
I have your bed pinch. I have all your bed pinch.
I got my single. I got doubles.
Yeah, I'm trying to look over you.
Something from the right.
I have all doubles, bro.
Yeah, I'm trying to get couch.
I have all satellite.
He's shooting me from single pollux.
Pinch Lilies, you pinch Lilies from beds.
Top cat.
He's Lilies right heading.
They'll be desk in time.
Top cat nasty.
I'm gonna pinch.
I'll tell you where I'll spawn. I'm a flank single.
One shot in kitchen. Async. He's just holding kitchen.
One shot single.
He's in single. I don't know where the guy is time.
It might be him, to be honest.
One's kitchen.
Single and D2.
Long desk dead.
One's on new. Nasty's on D.
Single challenge.
Single new.
Absolute single.
That's on.
Nice.
I'm looking down.
Small kitchen.
Alright, yeah, because we break here, we actually win.
Yeah, I'm wrapping right. Looking over you, dub
Come
is
right
single.
with me, guys. I'm gonna pop Betty.
You're
I
by
can bait for AR
Yeah, I'm going
here.
top mid. I'm going top mid.
I'm just gonna hold
shoulder
left.
for me if you can.
I don't see shit right now. One's
One's like Lilies, right?
Go for behind you.
D2. One got it dead. We have free lobby desk.
Nice. Nothing lobby that.
Ready.
Hey, can you be close, right?
Okay, satellite.
I'll see him.
Satellite, let's go diner. Satellite, lobby desk and satellite door.
Satellite desk, lobby desk, lobby desk.
Lobby desk.
I've broken. Yes.
He's challenging. He's close right, Mike. Nice one single. Watch your P4. Watch your P4.
I'm on.
I'm gonna have it in a second. I got it.
I've Sadie.
I have the broken cross. Look at my
Single desk.
I've Sadie. One Sadie, I think.
I have the Shady cross. I have the Shady cross.
I'm good.
I have the broken cross.
Sadie, look inside door. Sadie door.
Shady door came in. I'm finessing the player.
Push your right. Push your left.
Yeah, I am.
I'm gonna go lobby desk. I wanna watch.
They
They're
could've
gonna
spawned
probably
in
hit
the
ult. What's
R5.
D1 right now?
He's holding R5.
They're all rotating, guys. I think they're all
We
rotating.
win this, bro. We win this shit.
I'm leaving.
Yeah, he's holding R5.
One break, we win this shit.
I say we still go left.
Yo, come wine. I can jump. Yeah.
Well, he was on the
bumped me
gun. He
off
was
time?
on
You
the
ready?
gun.
Are you
ready?
Yeah.
And that is a beautiful listening right there from the Florida Mutineers, especially the communication from Dave Patty, the reassurance on what everyone needs to watch, what's going to be open, and what he has cut allows them to get right back into this game with a great P2 break right off the rip, led by a full 60 hold to now only be down by 40 points. Now they just have to execute a break on towards Kitchen, where last time around they didn't find any success.
We heard him say it. They said they just needed one break, and that absolutely could not come at a better time. The Mutineers trying to establish something. Dave Patty, the one man who could sit toward the back, could be the one to break this one open. Dave Patty trying to make the plays, waiting for an opening. Scrapz, meanwhile, no congestion, no problems in terms of the front line. The C, meanwhile, is able to wipe away one. Vikal and Dave able to do a bit of damage. Florida, they're trying to jump in. Desperate plays. Call for desperate measures. Scrapz versus Dave trying to go for the contest, but it's Scrapz who's able to take it. And with that, Florida, it looks like this game has gone taken out from underneath them, and London answer back here in the HP. Needed an answer, and they have got it. And the hardpoint nightmare continues for the Mutineers. You can mark it up. We've reached double digits. 10 losses in a row in hardpoint, Jay.
And now that puts them at 4-20 overall in this mode. That's not good. And you could just tell right there that London were going to walk away with this game pretty early into this one, because they were winning a majority of their gunfights. And when you're winning your gunfights, that means you're winning a majority of these rotations. Florida, they rotated early towards P2, got instantly broken. They could not find any success on breaking towards Kitchen. That was a full 120 hold from Ravens on both sides. I just think the Ravens had such a good start to this hard point. Basically, like you said, playing perfect hard point to start them off. 2 minutes and 47 seconds from Scrapz. He only has to drop 14 and 11. Just soaking up all that hill time while the rest of his teammates are just pushing out cut after cut, winning rotation after rotation. When you give yourself that much of a lead, Florida, they try to fight back towards the very end of the game, but London, they always were a step ahead. When you win rotation, you make the gunfights easier, you make the holds easier, as they take map number 4. Now we're going into a game number 5 where, honestly, like, when we talk about this Florida roster, making this roster change, they wanted to win respawns. But even with their old team, they were able to still take a couple controls here and there. And now they find themselves in another situation where they have to win a series 2, 3, 5. I know this is a brand new team, but you picked up Dave Patty to show improvement in hardpoint. You haven't seen it yet. It's basically the same team.
Yeah, it's definitely a frustrating moment for the Florida Mutineers. It's also, in some ways, maybe a frustrating moment if you're the Royal Ravens, having to really face off against this team and go to a game 5. Yeah. Regardless, both of these rosters have got to focus up. As we said, when it comes down to both these teams, they are eager to try and walk away with as many victories as possible to try and avoid an elimination bracket at Major number 2. Folks, make sure and stay with us, because when we come back after the break, we've got ourselves an aBeZy search and destroy, and it is set to be a wonderful way to close out our first series of the day. Make sure and stay with us.
Need more Call of Duty League? Sign up for the official CDL newsletter. Get updates, special offers, and premium content delivered directly to your inbox all season long. Scan the QR code to sign up now. You'll also be entered to win a pair of 4-day general admission passes to Major II in Boston.
Howdy, friends, and welcome back to the first series of the day. London Royal Ravens taking on the Florida Mutineers as we enter into Game 5 territory. Embassy Search and Destroy is where we find ourselves next. And Jay, it's an interesting one, right? Because I don't think either of these teams have yet to see a W on this very map and mode yet.
Yeah, 0-3 for Florida, but obviously this is a new squad. With their old squad, they just simply could not find any success with anything to do with the bomb. Retake situations, 22% win rate. Even when they get the bomb down, only 37% win rate. So if you are Florida this time around, at least based off what we saw at map number 2, when you get that bomb down in 4v4 situations, you should set yourself up for a little bit of a success. And then on the opposite side for London, they've only had the opportunity to play this map once, and they fell 6-4 to Toronto Ultra with a round that didn't go in their favor. It was a 1v3 and a 2v4. So I think if you are London going into this map, you're a little bit more confident going up against Florida, who have been great at search and destroy, but just not specifically on this map. But it's going to be London on the attacking first.
Yeah, and as you said, that one time we saw London Royal Ravens play it, the scene was the guy. Dropped 17 kills for the loss. So you're definitely hoping to have more of a team effort. It comes down to the Royal Ravens, as you said. Also going to clutch out those rounds. They allowed for Toronto to drop in multiple man advantage situations. Into round 1 we go. Ravens, they toss their pre-nades as we've learned to
here we go,
find pretty accurate here on Embassy, but the diving is out in the seam. I think does not spot Havoc toward the bottom. And how about the cover fire out of Havoc and Vico? Great work to walk away with the early 2. And thankfully for the Ravens, Scrapz is at least able to drop 1. Trying to make things a little bit easier as now we enter into 30 seconds left.
And now it's a 2v3, and London is looking like the bomb is going to commit over towards A. And does Vico read this push? You also have the crossfire set up for Major Maniac. Doesn't line up the gunfight, and eventually costs his teammate his life. So now in the 2v2, it's only 20 seconds left. Sniper, put the bullet in. Put the goddamn bullet in. Let him shoot. But they're going to get super aggressive towards A. What can Major do? Absolutely nothing. 2v1, all left up to Dave Patty.
I've got nothing but respect for Major Maniac, but I just feels like with the pistol out, you know they're coming toward you. Misses those shots, and now it puts David Paddington into a 1v2. Does he have what it takes? Careful as ever. Dead silence is popped. However, it's beginning to run on out. Has to find the first just to make things a little bit easier. Does he spot the one toward the parking lot? Yes, he does. How about the movement, by the way? Out of Dave Patty. Great work, but does not equal out to anything. The London Royal Ravens start things off with a lovely little... Was that a 2v4, Jay?
Yeah, that's a 2v4 right there. You want that one back right there if you are Florida. Because the setup that they had is Major Maniac. He has to hit that snipe unless Vico... If he doesn't, Vico's going to die. And that's exactly what happened. They knew at that point he has a sniper pistol in hand. Let's just be super aggressive on him. He's not going to be able to snipe us. They catch him with this pistol out, get the bomb down, and the Ravens are able to clutch up the 2v4 to start this one off. They said already showing adjustments as Scrap finds 3 on the round.
Goodness sake. I mean, I'll tell you what, man, the only recollection that I really have of Florida playing aBeZy Search and Destroy was thinking their first match versus OpTic. Boom! Great snipe there from Nastie. I was gonna say the whole story of that Search and Destroy was Florida finding first picks in round 1. It is shades of the same. Early first bloods not leading to success, but this time around the Ravens answer with 2 of their own. Great work to start things off on their opening defense.
And now the bomb is gonna be down over towards Milk Truck. So can Florida clutch up in a 2v4, the same exact thing that London did in round number 1. London are not giving up anything for free. Just getting a couple shots in, backing down. You know he's one shot. Let's go for the chow. Now it's all left up to Dave Patty. Once again, another clutch in a 1v4 this time around, though.
Hey, you know, at least finds one. There is that. 30 seconds to work with. Yeah, the problem is the fact that bomb's in the middle of nowhere. You know, 20 seconds on the clock. Dave Patty, not gonna happen. Respect. But in clutch situations like that, it's never gonna be easy. A 1v2 last round, a 1v4 here. It is great work again for the London Royal Ravens, already up 2-0.
They're just reading the plays beautifully. Nastie was holding down that back alley street side, waiting for Major Maniac to slowly peek. They take him down, and then eventually they catch the second player towards the middle of the map, turn it into a 4v2 with bomb being down towards Milk. Havoc just gets sniffed out, and Dave Patty in the 1v4. London, flawless S&D round right there to now go up 2-0. And this time they have trophies to work with, so we can get a little bit more aggressive towards B, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Trophies are out, making that cross a little bit easier. Scrapz, meanwhile, sits on 4-0. We talk about flawless S&D, flawless gameplay. Here from the new edition and Maddie Marshall. Major Maniac, meanwhile, with the sniper. There's got to be somewhat of a push being made over at this B site. The teammates have given over that info, and basically it is a push toward the top side of the map. The C, meanwhile, finds Major so they can back up, and they know exactly where the attack is coming from. Dave toward the top. Scrapz is weak, but he's not dead just yet. Cannot close out that victory. Dave, serious, comes away with 3. He says, you know what? When I finally got teammates on the map, we can clutch out these rounds. And they do exactly that. A hat trick there for Dave, and Florida finally put one up.
Yeah, London right there. Just made a couple mishaps happen. No one was watching middle planners. They allowed Dave Patty to push right up the middle of the map, take that player off bomb, get the second guy one shot, go for the challenge, and then he turns and burns onto the player and towards orange. Great plays from Mr. Paddington to find 3 on the round. Successful retake over towards that B side as Florida finally get one on the board.
And that is definitely the face, by the way, for those who are curious. Dave Patty, bottom right of your screen. That's the face that he made after he clutched that out. Just cool, calm, collected, Jay. Little smirk there at a Patty. Great round. And welcome back, by the way, brother.
Oh, wait! Well, what's the trophy doing?
Welcome back, indeed. The trophy gets tossed out, and nothing. Nothing at all, Jay.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough if you are Dave Patty. Now you have to work towards this bomb plant in a 3v4 situation. Able to back down Pollux with a couple shots. Bomb is successfully able to get planted. So now the retake has to come in. Look at the positioning right now of Havoc. He's trying to time this flank with this dead silence. He hears the sound cue of a player pushing up towards street. He pounces, finds that kill onto Nastie as Vico finds the second. Now it's a 2v3. Left up to aBeZy and Scrapz.
So they try to defend this Vico over the top. Looking for information, trying to give it over to the teammates. Finds Scrapz at the same time. His teammate cuts down the other. Great work again for the Florida Mutineers, bringing this one back, man. Down 2-0. They answer back when they need to. And that was great coordination, great timing there for Vico on one side of the map and for Havoc. Let's see this again.
Oh, the
trophy.
It wasn't fully planted. It wasn't fully planted on the ground. I think the nade actually blew up the trophy before it was able to set up on the floor. And eventually Dave Patty gets double naded right there for the first blood, but Florida still clutch up.
I need Parasite.
I promise you.
The figures, the statistics on how exactly that all...
Exactly what happened. It was 37% chance that trophy was going to hit the ground. But unfortunately, it does not.
Sorry, Dave. I tried to welcome you back into the CDL, and right when that happens, well, there it is. Do our best. Nothing is given. All right, that was like the tagline a few years ago. Nothing is given. Something like that. Regardless, round 5 we go. London back on the attack, and... well, utility is tossed. Thankfully, nobody, at least as of yet, still early in the round, has dropped because of a trophy. See if that looks to change. Is once again all eyes on Dave Patty to find a pick.
Yeah, London are just slowing this one down. They know on the opposing side there's a couple aggressive SMG players that like to make plays, and Havoc is able to find that play with that first one onto Paulek, sets up Dave Patty for the second. Bomb has yet to cross for Scrapz, but at least the Dead Silence is going to get invasive for Nasem. Can't find the kill onto Havoc, and that's a clean round right there from Florida. 3 rounds in a row to take the lead in this search and destroy. And before we even got into this, Linda, I thought the SMGs for Florida were going to struggle, because when you're an SMG and a playmaker on a map like aBeZy, there's not many routes that you can hit that you're not going to be able to get spotted. But they just keep on finding these openings, keep on finding multiple first bloods, and that's 3 rounds in a row now for Florida. Now up 3-2.
Well, it feels like, you know, the primary reason why you feel like the SMGs were going to struggle for Florida was because of the cross that we just saw Florida pull off perfectly. Like the Royal Ravens had no answer. Mutineers were giving them absolutely nothing to work off of. London just felt very out of sorts when it came down to that B site push. Nothing working for them, and you'd start to feel a bit of the momentum without question swinging the other direction. Florida on 3 rounds in a row, and it's the early engagements. Call P2 and Hardpoint, really the back alley, as those trucks are very much destroyed. And I'm sure Nastie and Scrapz have got to be careful. To be sure to gain back up that HP, go for the regen. Nassim, the only player in ear's distance. That bomb's going to go down, and now it's time for him to strike.
Oh, unfortunately, cannot open that door, as he's the only player on this side of the map. He's just trying to play his life, waiting for his teammates to attack through the flank. But Major Maniac here at least reads it perfectly. A couple shots onto Paulek, the cover fire from Dave Patty. Already the teamwork from Florida showing strong. Dave Patty finds 2. The trade does coming from Scrapz, but now it's the team's time to strike. He at least makes it a 2v2. Setting up for the pinch onto Major. All left up now to Havoc in the 1v2.
Havoc, thankfully, he's got time on his side. 15 seconds to work with. Spots a seam on the bomb.
I'm out of here.
And Scrapz surely is not going to be able to clutch this one out. He just hops right on the bomb. Havoc spots him. Havoc just surely take him down. Oh, God, Jay. It got a little close. It got a little close there for a moment. I thought maybe if Scrapz hops on that bomb just a little bit earlier, maybe there's a chance, but it is still all smiles there for Colt. I tell you what, man, I know we're showing him because of what he does at the end of the round, but it is all Dave Patty to start that round off. The reason why he's in a situation like that one.
Yeah, they're just making plays right now, Florida. They get all the tax to get invested on Major Maniac and Havoc, who were trying to push through that street side. And then once you have no stuns and nades to work with on a retake towards B, so eventually they wrapped all the way back, get that bomb down, and then the Guardian Angel and Dave Patty. What's going on? He gets team dead? All right, Guardian Angel and Dave Patty. They said, we don't need you this time, Dave. Team kill comes in, first blood in favor of London.
Wants to play. Let him play. Goodness sake, Havoc, meanwhile, was having a phenomenal game. We can't really hit him that much.
What?
Okay, it felt like you got him right between the eyes.
Right between.
A very interesting round to start things off, as Havoc is going flying in his cruise missile. Does not find anything with it. Maybe gets a bit of info. That's really all it is. But a huge round. We got to point it out for the Royal Ravens. The swing round indeed. They've got to get this play off, but Major cuts away too. Oh! Major Maniac, eat your heart out. A triple kill for the ages. And it has stunned the Royal Ravens and then some. At the start, Jay, he gets the hit marker, and from there, the game awards him with all 3 of these full kills.
Oh my, he just put on an absolute clinic with the sniper. Keep in mind, he got that hit mark onto Scrapz. It wasn't going to be an ace, but what a round right there from Major Maniac. 5 rounds in a row for Florida Mutineers. Perfect name from London to get another first blood. Majority of these rounds so far, they've gotten the man advantage, but it's been Florida on multiple occasions have been able to clutch up so far. Now in the 3v4, Major after with that sniper gets that 3-piece, gonna be filling himself. No way you're gonna put this one away.
No, it's just so funny. Like, you saw Major just instantly peek up toward the side of the tennis courts. There's 2 men for the Royal Ravens that just instantly back up. Like, they just see a very quick little glint of the scope and they back up. Nasty, it's not gonna go your way, buddy. They back up, they go for the reach out, and Major has got him dead to rights. And the nades continue to rain on through. Scrapz eventually does take down Major Maniac. So now we've got ourselves a 2v2. London just barely hanging on.
You should get the information on to Dave Patty, but Havoc, his time to strike, finds that kill on Paul-X. Now it's going to be a free A bomb plat. Scrapz into 1v2. No dead silence to work with. He's going to get sound. He's going to get some sound cues in favor of Florida, where he's going to try to attack this from. He does have that sniper in hand, but if you're Florida, just don't give up anything easy. Play for this trade, and the round is going to be yours.
The series looks to be all good for Florida as long as they just don't make a mistake. Scrapz, sniper in hand, hunting, eagerly searching for that pick, knowing that the game continues to fall by the wayside. Dave Patty puts in a few shots toward the side, and there you go. The Florida Mutineers handle business really in the form that they have done so all throughout the season. A good old 2-3-5, a Neslo special is on the menu today as Florida able to walk away with this W and hand the London Royal Ravens another loss as they will close out their Major II qualifiers 1 and 4. I tell you what, Jay, the return of Dave Patty did not disappoint by any means.
It definitely did not. You know, we saw a bunch of team killers said, Dave, you're too much on the map. Let's just team nade you. Let's get you down. But he was always left in a majority of these clutches rounds. Ends the search and destroy at 7-4, but Havoc was the guy that just took over. He earns himself the cruise missile, finds himself on a 9 spree to close out the search and destroy. That was 6 rounds in a row right there for Florida. When you have multiple rounds where you're down 3v4 and you're able to clutch up, momentum is obviously going to be on your side. But then in 3v3, when Major Maniac is able to pull out an absolute world star clinic with that sniper in hand, that's when you know there's no way in hell we're probably going to lose this series. Great series from Florida Mutineers to keep their winners bracket alive going into Major II. Now puts them at 2-2 with 1 match remaining. And now if you are Florida, just got to go back and work on some damn hardpoint.
Yeah.
Like 4-20 overall. I know you had some close ones, at least in this series. At map number 1, you were 2 points away from closing it out. We just got to get back to the fundamentals. We get the better spawns. We get the easier gunfights. We get the better holds. That's how you have to look at it if you are Florida. But they're still able to clutch up out this series, like you said, with the Neslo special.
Yeah, I mean, like, how do you judge a series like this, right? I mean, like, Dave Patty comes in, they win a series. Granted, it is versus the London Royal Ravens, who by definition are the 12th seed right now in the CDL.
Yeah.
As you said, they get it done in the same fashion. How do you grade a performance here at the Mutineers? Is it still too early to judge, or were you happy with what you saw here?
I think it's better because their opening hardpoint, they only lost by 2 points. They were winning a majority of the rotations. It just came down to those final couple of rotations where they weren't able to win a couple of those gunfights, and that eventually is what cost them. So if you take a gameplay look at from when Brack was on a squad, they were losing hardpoints like 250 to 150, 160. Majority of the times they were not in the best side, but with Dave Patty, at least they had some favorable spawns sometimes. Now you just have to get that a little bit more consistent.
Without a doubt, my friend, it is a W in the books here for the Mutineers as they get the job done here in a game 5. Let's bring back in the desk, guys. A crazy series, one that we thought could go the distance, but Puckett, I'm just excited that Dave Patty is back. All is right with the world now.
I mean, my prediction was incredible. I based it on facts and knowledge, and it wasn't just my heart that told me that this was all going to work for Florida. Dave Patty is a monster in search, and a great call there from Lando and Study. aLLeY and Nameless, though, you were feeling London today. And it was not a pretty series from London. All the way back to their first win, it was looking like a map they were going to drop, a map that they had all the statistics on coming in.
It was a seam. I mean, you have to talk about that map 1, winning it by 2 points. I mean, the fact that there were still 10 seconds on that P1 where Florida needed 2 seconds to close it out. And it's a seam, the solo man on a mission that kept them off it and allowed London to clutch up to get that first map. But it's just like I said before we headed into this matchup, London had to win that control. Florida's overall very icy, especially when it comes to those game 5s. They're 3-1 now, 4-1 in game 5s, 5-1 around 11s. Their search and destroy has just been flawless.
Their search has been money, and a lot of people in the chat may be new to this scene. They're asking, what is a Neslo? You kind of have to be an old head to understand the meaning of Neslo. This is a guy, a former player for Team Caliber, silver medalist there at the X Games, but Neslo was known for winning series purely on the search games.
Yeah, on the searches and then that middle game mode, which is in hardpoint. And that's what we just saw. And to set the record straight, I did pick Florida to win this series just because of how bad London has looked. And once again, like, Florida remains the exact same team to me. Still search and destroys, clutching up when they need to. Havoc making miraculous plays. Now, Dave did look fantastic in those searches, don't get me wrong. He had a beautiful ace in that game, number 2. Hard points on rotations. You know, we keep talking about Florida and the rotations and hardpoint, how bad they are. They're making good plays. Like, they're rotating when they need to. It's just their execution on said rotations all going the obvious route. People aren't distracting towards the back of the hill pinches. The timing isn't there. The collapsing onto the hill at the same time for the break. All that stuff needs to be fixed. And that is kind of what I was highlighting with not having Brack anymore. It didn't fix any of those problems. But either way, they still do get that victory. The control was wonderful. That offense that they needed to pull out. We saw some big plays on the side of Havoc.
We got to take a look at our Scump play of the game. Major Maniac was 1-4. He's playing his role. He's locking down the map. Only 5 engagements until he pulls out the big boy toy. Look at these snipes, aLLeY.
I mean, it was just stunning to watch. I know we all saw that first one. We were like, all right, the second one, and then the third one came through, and it was just stunning across the board.
How often do you see players in that position? Is this a known spot, or is this like I can pull it out once again?
Yeah, it's a known spot. It's just hard to get there, Puckett. Like, you have to go all the way through tennis, not get caught from top AC or back alley. Somehow he gets there, finds the 3 kills in just wonderful fashion. And honestly, in what was probably the difference in that game 5, I feel like we needed to see better snipes out of the side of London on the offensive pushes. We saw one time they tried to push over to bomb site. Havoc peeks out of top orange door and finds a 2-piece. Like, that cannot happen. There needs to be a sniper there the entire time. I feel like the rest of these teams should have learned from iLLeY by now.
Well, not sniping Havoc led to Havoc dropping 10 kills, and he's back here for another interview on Headquarters. Havoc, welcome back in. Congratulations on the victory tonight. And first and foremost, can we just talk about the big news coming in? You guys made a roster change in that new FaZe. He was putting up numbers in your searches tonight.
Yeah, man. We brought on Dave Patty, and you know, the kid's a monster. Scrims have been going really well with him. Right away, our respawns looked better. Still not there yet. As you can see, we're still Nesloing, which is annoying. We want to win that hard point. First map, we had the opportunity to do it, but we just fumbled at the end. So we're going to keep working on that with Dave, but he brings a lot to the team. He knows a lot, and he's been teaching us and helping us out.
Dude, Cole, you continuously amaze me at Search and Destroy. Some of these plays that you're making is just unreal. So congratulations on the win. But I think a lot of us in the community were left like a little amazed at the dropping of Brack. Can you give us a reasoning, like within the camp, what was the reason for getting rid of Brack? Because when you look at the stats, he's great, and the display in hardpoint that we just saw doesn't exactly justify it.
I would say, without saying too much, I would say the main thing was our pacing issue between both ARs, and honestly with the subs and the ARs combined was just really off. Hardpoint was just not getting better, and so we decided to bring in Dave from the bench, and right away our pacing sped up, and because we have an analytics and we looked at it, the pacing sped up objectively, and it's helping out a lot.
Havoc, I think one of the biggest wins in the series for you guys aren't overall the win, but the win on control. You've been seriously struggling in that as well, even though you've been Nesling teams. I mean, you're second and last in the league when it comes to a lot of these statistics. So I was wondering, you know, what has working your control been like for y'all, and, you know, what's really going wrong for you?
I mean, I think control is a pretty straight up game. There's not a whole lot you have to figure out. There's a certain way to play, and we've been working on Hotel specifically.
Okay.
And we came up with an idea of how to play the map, and it paid off right there. I won't say what it is, but it paid off there, man. And we got the dub. Yes, sir.
Havoc, it's awesome to watch you guys pulling out W's. You are now getting closer to locking in your spot in the top 8. Was there any extra pressure in this matchup against London for you?
Personally, I didn't add any extra pressure. I looked at it like it's just another match. Obviously, it was a big one, I think we need to rely on another team to win one more, and we have winners. But you know, it sets us up for this Boston match coming up tomorrow. So we're going into that with more confidence. And yeah, it was really good that we took this one down.
Final question actually is, how many players did you 180 today? I was telling Nameless, I caught at least 4 on camera.
I don't know. I feel like I was in my flow state, especially first map and that last map, and I felt like I was just kind of pre-aiming the right stuff and letting people come to me.
Crushing it in the interviews, crushing it in game, especially those searches. Congrats on another W. Can't wait to see you against Boston tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
That's Havoc, and that is Florida walking away with the first victory of the day. And despite London's loss, we do have to credit one man with our Hummer extract mode play of the day. It's aSim, 246, 223, make it 248 before aSim goes clutch here.
This is insane. This is what we were talking about earlier, that Florida could have won it on this P1. There's still 10 seconds here. They only need 2, and aSim is all by himself and gets every single kill that he needs. Not a single trade comes through from Florida, and the fact he gets off the point as well and makes out with his life is incredible.
Somebody sold on Florida though. He gets a kill in P3, runs back to the hill, and the guy that was sitting in hill, I think it was Havoc, was looking forward, didn't turn around for the trade onto aSim, and it was honestly next level. Like, he wins those crazy gunfights, but then jumps out of the hill. We're like, yo, what are you doing? Get back on the hill, I need 2 seconds. And then he plays peekaboo to get that final kill, and also gets one on top of the window. So just a nasty play, a clutch moment, and, you know, starting off the series on a high note.
Great stuff from both teams to open it up, but it's Florida who walks away with that Game 5, and they will win our first of 3 matches. When we come back, we've got another battle for you. It's the Vegas Legion taking on our #1 seed with the Subliners, looking to reclaim their throne. We'll be right back.